Hi there, boys and girls. Hope you all enjoyed your weekend. I certainly didn't get much done. I thought this weekend just going, I'd sit down, really crack on with the pile of stuff I've got to do Warhammer 40k wise. I got a load of G-Stealer called, a few G-Stealers left to paint up, and I got fucking none of it done. Basically what happened was, I said, oh, there's a Skyrim mod that looks pretty good, and then my fucking weekend just vanished before me. Before I knew it, I turned around to look at the pile and I'm like, oh, I suppose I should do some of that. What time is it? Oh, it's Monday. Shit. So, yeah, that happened to me this weekend. Absolutely zero production in 40k construction and painting wise, but a lot of Skyrim got played, so, you know, swings and roundabouts. Oh, where we left off, basically GW are going forward with the faction focuses sort of thing. They're like sort of vehicles for people to get glimpses of how their particular faction or a particular faction is going to sort of function in the new edition, the quote-unquote 9th edition, from people who obviously play those armies, like tournament players and things like that. I don't think it's all tournament players though. I think a few of them are just like a few YouTubers and whatnot, which is great. I mean, we've had a few now. I mean, we've had today, well, not today, we've had a few more than that, but from the last time I left off, I left off at Orcs, and they've had Death Guard, Adeptus Mechanicus, and today they've had a Eldar, or Action Focus Craft World since then, and each one, you know, goes into how basically some units are going to perform in 9th edition, and they've dropped little sneaky little rules from 9th edition that we weren't aware of before, haven't been properly previewed. Well, I say that, only one of them's really dropped a rule. Another one's dropped a preview of a stratagem, and the other one's dropped a preview of a passive objective. The one that dropped the actual rule was the Death Guard one. Basically, the way people take turns in combat is changing ever so slightly. As I understand it now, it's you do all your charging units first, and the person whose turn it is gets to pick the first unit after that to fight with. And I think it's changing to you do all your charges first, and the person whose turn it isn't gets to take the pick of the first units to fight with. Obviously, the ones I'm in charge. Slight change, but you know, change is change, and it's there. The Adeptus Mechanicus one, they previewed a stratagem. What was it called? I think it was called All Out Breakout or something like that. Ah, there we go. Desperate Breakout. 2 CP. Basically, what this is, let's say you've got a squad. You've got a squad of boys. Not a squad of orc boys. I mean, ignore that. I mean, you've got a squad of your guys. And they have been absolutely hemmed in by an assaulting force. And you can't fall back. You've got nowhere to go. Basically, for this stratagem to work, excuse me, by the way, I always get like gassy when doing these videos. I shouldn't really say that. For 2 CP, basically what happens is you roll a dice for each model in your unit, the one that you want to, you know, get up and fuck off. And every result of one, a model in that unit it dies. Basically, after that, you can fall back and you can move across any models like they weren't there. But if you end up your turn with some models in engagement range of that enemy unit, then they die as well. Basically, it's just a way for you, for 2 command points, it's just a way for you to quickly get out of a combat that you don't want to be in anymore, and allows the unit that was trying to stab you to death now can get shot. So, you know, that's pretty cool. And the Eldar one, what was it? Yeah, I think it was just a progressive, like, objective, basically, that kind of rewards, like, the Eldar sort of speed on jet bikes by controlling table quarters. You get victory points that way. You go read. I mean, you know, these faction focuses I can imagine are quite interesting for those people who whose factions they are. I mean, I would be. Listen, I am not qualified at all to talk about any other faction. I mean, I'm barely qualified to talk about the factions I collect, like Tyranids. I mean, like, barely qualified. My Tyranid game plan is this. Right, I am hungry. My food is over there. All I need to do is figure out how to get from here to there while still having enough people alive to eat the food. That's the beginning and end of my game plan. It's like, close combat, that's it. No strategy, close combat. Don't do guns, close combat. Fair enough. Right, now, the other thing that's happened today, Pariah. We're at the home stretch now, ladies and gentlemen. It's almost over. Psychic Awakening is almost over. And I've said this before with GW previews. They always seem to do, like, really good previews and then just tail off near the end. Just end it with, like, a thut rather than a great big bang. And, oh, God, if I'm not sure that they're doing the same with Psychic Awakening. Right. In front of you right now, there is the contents for Psychic Awakening Pariah. Right. First off, I'd want to say this. If I didn't already know that we were about to get a hot load of living metal goodness in the form of the revised Necron range, I would have accused GW of trolling the shit out of Necron players after seeing this. You get an army that hasn't seen any love for some time, i.e. Necrons. You name a story section of the ongoing narrative after a unit that just got discontinued a while ago that they used to have. And I'm like, you obviously know what the reaction from a majority of the Necron player base is. You call something Pariah, they are going to assume they are going to get a Pariah or a Pariah type unit of some description. Now, again, we know the Necrons are getting like pretty much a range refresh, with the exception of a few models like Night Size, Doom Size, and what kind of thing. And we've not seen everything yet. If you remember on that previous picture, there was that little Necron snuggled away in the background, the one with the white face that we couldn't quite identify. So we don't know. We don't know that yet. But in this book, right now, if we didn't know that, I would accuse DW, and I'd be quite. I would be fine with Necron players being angry at the fact they've been trolled like fuck. No mention of any pariahs, nothing even remotely pariah-ish. You've got to know what you the kind of reception or what kind of response you're going to get when you call a book that features Necrons Pariah. You know, am I making sense here? I'm not speaking double Dutch, am I? I mean, that's you follow me with that logic, right? Okay, but that's fine. That's not counted because again, we know the Necrons are going to get a whole lot of new goodness. Right. If you look at that list of context right there, there are people that will buy this book because they like to collect books. Fine. There are people that will buy this book for the lore. That is also fine. There are people that will buy this book for new missions. That is also fine as well. New missions, new theatres of war. Fine. So you've got your two factions, okay? You've got the Inquisition and you've got the Necron. Notice I said Necron, not Necrons. Inquisition is a weird one. They're like... Again, I without having facts and figures in front of me, I can't back this up. And I'm never going to get those kind of information because, you know, I don't think anyone keeps a running tally of who collects what in like a pie chart. But I'm willing to bet that Inquisition forces are one of those ones that just aren't really supported that much by GW. Just because they don't have that many models. And they're sort of weird. They don't fit into any sort of Imperial faction or Imperial faction like properly. If you know what I mean, they're like an over faction that you can just like sprinkle in to make your existing faction more flavorful. Fine, okay. There are people that will collect Inquisition, okay, who play Inquisition. That's cool. There are people who will get this book because they will buy anything with an Aquila on it. And that's also cool. I will buy anything with the Tyranid logo on it. I'll buy a cock ring in the form of a Tyranid worm, spikes and all. You know, because I'm that kind of consumer. That's also fine. Why should a Necron player who's not bothered about the lore, who's not bothered about theatres of war, about missions, or about obviously Inquisition or anything like that, why should a Necron player spend a decent amount of money purchasing a book with the rules for only one character in it? Well, you could say, well, the new Illuminator Zara's model, it's got new rules. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But arguably, you've already got the rules for Illuminator Zara's. They may not be the new rules, quote unquote. You can't see what I'm doing like the air quotes here. But you've got rules for him. Is getting a slightly updated rule list for a character worth spending however much money it is on this book? Let alone the limited edition one. And come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's face it. I can Google, like, for instance, Dimicaron rules for a Tyranid unit, and I bet you there'll be an image on Google somewhere. So, why would a Necron player buy this book? Especially when you consider the fact that they are, I would argue that they are the headline army of 9th edition. Because, Yeah, Space Marines against something as well. Yeah, and Sisters Ball and all that. But Necrons, I feel, are getting the most attention, both in a range and just general people being excited for them. I'd say they're the headline army, so their actual codex can't be far away. So why would you buy this book for a character that you already have a slightly outdated rule set for, that you could probably find with a Google search when this drops? Why would you buy it? It makes no sense. I mean, let me get my phone here. I messaged Jamie about this. Bear with me a sec. It's never there when you want it, is it? Well, basically, it was like, what's the actual point? You've got you don't even have the stratagems like you wouldn't do in previous codexes. Look, you've got the Inquisition stratagems right there. It says, page 50, Inquisition stratagems. Inquisition Angel Elevator, Relics of the Inquisition. You've got all that. Where's the Necron stuff? I bought Blood of Baal because it contained interesting Tyranid stratagems and interesting new ways to play Tyranids. Fine. I didn't buy for the greater good because the stuff it lent to the Genestealer Occult Codex wasn't amazing. People would argue it wasn't even good. It was just okay. This is less than that. Now, that's speaking purely from a Necron point of view. Like I said, Inquisition players, people like the lore, like the missions, like the new theatres of war, go nuts, buy this book. But as a Necron player, it's not just in all the other stuff, I cannot see a tangible reason why you would not just wait a few more weeks or a month or two to wait for your codex, which will have everything brand spankers new in it for you, including Illuminator's RS, then waste money on this book. Don't buy this book, buy the model, save that money for some of the new stuff you're going to be getting. Yeah? Cool? Cool. So, yeah, it's the end of Psychic Awakening, and I've got to say, GW, for the most part, this is very unimpressive. It's okay, but it's not as good as the other ones. This is the weakest so far. But again, I could be wrong. The story could be absolutely baller. And I'd hope it is if it's going to lead into 9th. But hey, there we go. We'll just have to see what the week brings. This is going to be a week of previews for Pariah. So you never know. They might just turn it around. The Inquisition stuff might just blow my mind. I doubt it. And if they do preview like the entire rule set for Illuminator's Hours, then they've just destroyed any reason why the Necron player should buy this book, because they'll just look at the rules that you just preview. So, meh. Anyway, guys, I could be talking shit. You could be like, what are you on about, Ben? This is great value for money for everybody or whatever. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Thumbs up, thumbs down, all that good stuff. I'll leave it in the hands of the peanut gallery. I mean, like I said, I'm not qualified to talk about this. I'm qualified to talk about it because I have a mouth and a voice. I'm not qualified to rate it seriously. But, opinions are opinion. I will catch you all next time, guys. See you later.